everyone. Congratulations to all of the honorees tonight. And thank you, Matt, for that introduction. You said everything I was going to say, so now I have nothing left to say. But true story here, actually, really, I was planning on talking, I was asked to talk about how I got started in my career, and the answer to that all stems from Matt Scott finding me on Twitter. So I did not know that Matt was actually going to be the MC tonight. So he was really the story that I was going to tell, and now I'm sitting here next to him, which is really sort of incredible. So just a little bit of background on me. I started my company, Ruby Media Group, when I graduated from Boston University College of Communications. So I have, quote, never had a real job, as they like to say about millennials who are entrepreneurs, true and true. I always say it's either in you or it's not to be an entrepreneur, right? It's just something that you have in you. So how I got started, I'd be remiss to talk about how I got started in my career if I didn't thank my mom, who's in the audience tonight, who funded my education at BU. So thank you, Mom, for that, because my education is definitely important in my career in the BU comm community. So how did I get started? Obviously I got started in terms, there are two different areas, right? There's my path as a publicist and running a PR company, and there is my path in television. So I will get started talking about the TV part first. So I think it's very important that whatever you do as a millennial, that you pursue knowledge in your industry and you look at what's on the cutting edge, what is going to disrupt your industry. So when I got started in social media, something that was very intriguing to me was how social media, or how dating was changing social media and the industry at large. So I reached out to jdate.com. Do people in the audience know JDate? Has anyone ever heard of that? Yes, okay. So I started writing for JDate at the time, and I wrote an article for JDate about how social media, or how dating was being changed by social media. And what did I do? I tweeted this article, and then I used hashtags to try and help this article get found. And again, this was sort of different for me. It had nothing to do with how I was helping clients with their social media, but it was an area I was interested in. And lo and behold, one day, there was a TV producer, anchor, meteorologist named Matt Scott, who's sitting to my left, who sent me a tweet back. And he said, I find your article for JDate intriguing. I'd like to have you as a guest on my show. So lo and behold, I'm telling you this story because I come from a family that had no connections in media at that time. And all of this is actually because of my writing. Because I started writing and I used social media. And that is how I built my career in television as a commentator. So that is how I got booked on TV the very first time, when I was probably, I don't know what, 21 years old at the time? Yes. So here we are. I guess it's maybe a decade later now, but I showed up and I was living in Westchester. Matt Scott was doing the early show, WTNH, ABC, Good Morning Connecticut. I will never forget it because he booked me for a show that was probably, I think, 7 a.m., 7:30, so I would have to schlep there really early, wake up at 4 a.m. and head over there. And Matt, I kept getting booked back. And so what's so interesting about Matt, and really why I owe so much of my success to Matt, is because he's followed me throughout my career, throughout the years, and he's always given me advice on my other segments that I've done and what I can improve on and what I can do better. And in many ways, he's been a mentor to me, and I'm so lucky to have someone like Matt be that for me. And so I think that being a mentor for millennials is so critical, in the ability to spot talent in millennials, right? That's what Dee Del Bello has done here tonight. That's what she's done with all of you, who are all winners. People like Dee, people like Matt, they have that innate ability to find talent and to help foster and grow that talent, because they believe in that talent to be the future of the community, of Westchester, of Fairfield, and of millennials at large. So back to my story, I continued to do this, whether it was a snowstorm, whether it was raining out, whether I was dating someone at the time and they wanted me to stay in, and I said, no, have to do Matt's show. So I gave up everything to keep doing this. And people would say, why are you doing this? You had this whole other thing. Why do you keep doing this? And I'd say, because that's what I want to do, because I'm passionate about it. Matt kept saying, what are you doing here? Do you want to be an anchor? Because if so, you have to move to the Midwest and start over. And I'd say, no, Matt, I want to do both. I love PR, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to continue to run my own company, but I also want to be a TV commentator. So I kept doing both. Kept running my own business, kept doing this. And so I did local TV probably for 4 or 5 years, waking up at 4 a.m. for Matt's 7 a.m. show. I'm so grateful because I cut my teeth on that show. I learned so many different things. I always tell people, if you want to get started in television, start local, then go regional, then go national, and that's exactly what happened to me. So I think probably after 4 years of doing that show, I met someone else who was connected to a producer over at Fox News and Fox News National. So that is when I was asked to do Fox News National for the very first time. And I've probably been on at least 100 times now. I talk about anything from tech trends to social media to politics to social media's role in the election, and lots of interesting topics. And I'm living a life beyond my wildest dreams today, and part of that is because I have made my career in many respects my top priority. At the demise of other areas in my life, I continue to show up for opportunities. I continue to say yes for things as they come. I continue to stay connected to people like Matt who have been mentors for me. And I'd also say something that's important as a woman on television is that social media, when you look on social media at a man who's on TV versus a woman who's on TV, watch what people say about men when they're on TV. What they say is, I heard what you had to say, you sound really great. What do we say about women when they're on TV? You look great. And one of my key missions as a woman on television is to change that conversation. I want to change that conversation when we see a woman on TV. Not to say, you look great, but to say, you sounded great. I heard what you had to say, and it resonated with me, and you sounded great. Because I grew up in a household where how I looked didn't really matter, but what I had to say mattered. And it was highly criticized. So when my dad would watch me on TV, he'd say, I saw you, but I think you could have done this better. And I'd show Matt my segment, and he's, I saw you, but did you think about doing that? And so I kept people around me that never told me I was the best. They always told me what I could do to improve and to be better. And I'm a firm believer that if you want to be a leader in your field, whatever it is you want to do, keep people around you who you believe are smarter than you. Don't keep yes people around you. Keep people around you who are going to push you, not people who tell you you're so great and you're the greatest thing since sliced bread. Because that won't propel you forward in your career. The people that I like to keep around me are the people that say, I watched you, but maybe you shouldn't make sweeping statements like that. I watched you, but your opinion was a little bit too neutral. You need to go more to the right or to the left. I watched you, but you really need to improve your eye contact. So every single step of the way, I have people telling me how to improve. And I believe television is an art. I believe that you have to practice at it every time you do it in order to get better. To this day still, even if it's my episode or segment number 101, I still watch it and I still criticize it. And so I think that applies to every single field that you can be in. And to close, I do want to say this, that I like to find the things that I think are important in terms of change and industry disruption. And when I started out my career, that big idea that I had when Matt found me was about social media and dating and how dating was going to change social media. Today, you're hearing it first from me, the big thing that I've been working on for the past 7 months is genealogy, which was traditionally considered a hobby of baby boomers. I believe millennials are going to disrupt the entire field of genealogy. And what I find most interesting about genealogy, and again, I'm talking about sites like Ancestry.com, 23andMe, all of these different sites, right? I'm sure you've seen them where you can get your DNA done. I believe that those are going to be the next greatest social network that ever existed. Beyond Facebook, you want to talk about data or privacy or who has access to our data, these sites own our genetic code. So imagine if you pair that with data, that is data that you really want to think about because we're selling our code away for $99. But beyond that, I think the big idea here, and I say this to you because I actually had a grandmother who's no longer with me, but she was adopted, and so I've spent hundreds of hours trying to figure out where did she come from. And so I look at these records. And the saddest part of all of this to me is that when I look, there's only 3 records. She lived this full life of 100 years on this planet, and yet, when I go to the records, there's only 2 census records with her name, and that's it. So why am I telling you this story, and how does this relate to you? This relates to all of you in a big way. Because if you can disrupt this, you can create a legacy. You don't have to be like my grandmother where there's only 2 things about her. Because Google, when she was living this full life, wasn't around. Facebook wasn't around. Instagram wasn't around. Podcasting, the explosion of that did not exist. So you have this huge opportunity to take the knowledge base that you have developed and acquired in your career starting now and record it. You can record it in so many different ways that have not been available to the people that have come before us. And I think that that is the most amazing gift that we have, to be able to share that knowledge, to create a legacy through social media so that when people are looking for you, people can remember you by everything that you know, not only pictures of your family and everything else that matters, but also by the knowledge that you have accumulated throughout your career. Because just having all this knowledge in and of itself in your brain isn't enough. I believe as leaders, and all of you are leaders in this room today because you've won this award, as leaders, we have a responsibility to pass knowledge on. And one of the ways that I believe we can do that is through social media. So again, I want to congratulate all of you here today. I want to thank you for having me speak. Thank you, Dee, for this honor of having me up here, and I'll hand it back over to Matt.
Wonderful. Now let me tell you the things you could have done better.